recording, just so that members of the public can enter. But we have to confirm that we have a quorum here. Although if we have to wait more than a certain, that's already 6:37. If they don't come, if we don't have it in the next minute or two, at least I will get my report out of the way, Mark's report out of the way. So here we are.
Well, they're still okay.
Rich is there.
Yeah. But he's not-
He doesn't count for.
Yeah. Oh, Valerie is on here. And. Your booth. Let's see.
He doesn't count. He
I think non-voting,
right?
We got Shirley and Susanna.
We have 9 that count, I think, because Michael Levine counts plus the 8 of us in the room, right?
Michael Levine
Michael is on a chair.
is not.
Oh, you're right.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Patricia, you got Patricia, right?
How many do we need?
Where's Patricia?
And
Here.
Oh, hi. Did you
She's
just-
been here. No,
did
she's
you-
been here.
Okay,
8,
something
4,
is wrong with
5.
me.
That's 7. That's 7.
Okay, so we
Seven.
do have a quorum.
There's 8 of us here. 2, 4, 6, 8.
And we have, okay,
Harvard doesn't.
Oh, ours isn't.
No,
Carter is not a voting member.
so we have 7.
There's 7 in.
I should count as well.
Who's that?
Mara, she has a.
Oh, okay, she is what, she is in,
Or you need to send us the form, but yes, we'll count through that.
okay, that's fine,
I sent you the form before I went into surgery.
got it,
I'll resend to both of you.
Okay, I'll look for it. Thank you.
okay. Okay, so we do have a quorum. That's wonderful. Okay, so let's begin. Welcome everybody to CB2's May Executive Committee meeting. I'm Susan Kent, Chair of the Board. We have a quorum, so we will begin. The first item on our agenda is approval of the April committee minutes. Is there anyone who has any questions or any changes to those minutes that they'd like to bring up now? If not, I will take a motion to approve. Okay, and a second, and all in favor.
I.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next report, just briefly, we have gotten our new members as of the month, and new members are included as of the date of your letter, so our new member, the appointees are actually members. We received, well, we had 10 open slots, we received 8 appointees. Unfortunately, 2 of those people have had to subsequently withdraw. We still have 4 open seats, and we are communicating with the VP's office to get those filled. I want to thank Valerie. We had a very helpful onboarding meeting just before this one. We may have a second such meeting for the new people that are yet to be appointed. If anyone is interested in inviting someone to attend that because they have curiosity about what we do and they'd like to learn a little more, please check. We will put that on the calendar. And we just encourage people to come and learn more. Let's see, at Borough Board, we had the City Planning did their presentation on City of Yes for housing. It was basically the same presentation that our Land Use Committee got actually on the same day, except it didn't feature the components dealing with special districts that are unique to us. I noticed that a lot of the chairs had concerns similar to those that were raised at our land use meeting. There's a lot there. It's over 1,300 pages of material to go through. One thing I will point out is that the BP who was at the meeting actually requested that community boards vote on every provision of these proposed changes, whereas on the previous City of Yes proposals, we declined to take opinions on things that we felt were not relevant to us. The borough president's, the philosophy behind this is that in order for this to be an effective plan, is that all the elements have to be working together. Of course, this remains to be seen whether or not we, agree with taking that viewpoint. The borough board will be voting on this in June. The 60-day clock has started, but the timeline that was presented to me is that there will be a public hearing in July. Comments will be accepted up until the vote, the DCP's vote in September, and there's an expectation the city council will get to this finally at the end of the year. Also mentioned was that the Rent Guidelines Board will be having a Manhattan meeting on June 11th at the Ethical Culture Society, and the deadline for comments on that is also June 11th. It wasn't previously scheduled, but there is now a location in Manhattan for that. One last thing, we have our extraordinary circumstances form that I mentioned last month. It's been slightly revised. Mark can go into it in more detail, but I just wanted to bring it up because it is important for committees as well as the full board to maintain these records, to preserve members' not only right to vote, but to preserve the integrity of votes that are taken, because there is the possibility of somebody challenging a vote if members are online and we don't have them as reported as having an extraordinary circumstance. We don't want to see votes challenged because someone will say there really wasn't a majority. So I know it's a little more work, but our votes, we do try to protect the integrity of it. And I think that is it for me. Mark, please.
Okay, thanks. So I'm gonna pick right up where we left off on the extraordinary circumstances form. The big change, the feedback we got from full board in April was that the blank at the bottom that says my extraordinary circumstance is seemed to invite people to have to disclose their medical diagnoses and so forth, and that was absolutely not the intent. So the suggestion that was made, I'm sorry, I don't remember who made it. It might have been Susan Wittenberg, but anyway, somebody made the suggestion that we have check boxes instead. So that's what the new form looks like. Hopefully that will not encourage people to say more than they need to. And then all the reasons for it, the chair just gave, so I won't repeat. We are going to be audited by the comptroller's office, and this comptroller audit is different than any I've ever seen. Usually the comptroller's audit either asks you to prove that you've had agendas and minutes, and you have a website, and you can produce your own resolutions. This one is financial, go figure. So they're going to ask us how we're, for, I assume, documentation on how we're spending our money. I'm going to refer them, of course, to NYU. One of the problems, of course, for this board is that we do not have what's called a P card. A P card is a credit card for a city agency, and it allows us to pay things like the Verizon for our mobile hotspots, so we can bring Wi-Fi wherever we go, and for the guy who posts the flyers, and for what's the other one? Anyway, the MailChimp, the way in which we send our e-blasts out. Wisely, they don't want to wait to be paid by the city FMS system, so they demand a credit card. So that credit card's mine, and I get reimbursed for it eventually. And so I'm a little bit nervous about the financial audit simply because they're going to say, why aren't you paying for this with a P card? And the application for the P card has Bob Gormley's signature on it. It was done that long
We've
ago.
been fighting for that for years.
We revised it recently. Well, actually, let's say nudged. We nudged them recently on this, and they sent us a whole new slew of them. So some of them now have my signature. Okay. Anyway, so there's the comptroller's audit. I spent the better part of the afternoon on yet another attempt to change my career to that of a DJ. We have good news, which is that we got it all to work again, knock wood. Bad news is that you heard that before. The even better news is that we're at the Sheen Center this week. They have paid professionals who know what they're doing. But we have reason to hope. Working on our website, Eva is taking a very strong lead on that, and but I'm also very much involved. And we're seeking consultants to try to upgrade some of the ways in which we do things. More on that as we go along. This is my monthly call for agendas. A reminder that it's now on the calendar that's been distributed, that we put on the calendar both the date of the board package, which is tomorrow, and the date of the first next month calendar. I'm sorry, that's not a very elegant way to say that, but the first iteration of the June calendar will be this Friday, and I'm gonna beg and ask that we do it middle of the day Friday, so that we can get it out in a timely fashion, and so that I can review it before it goes. Friday is kind of supposed to be a day off for me, but we'll get this out for sure. So this is especially to those committees that whose agendas are not driven by applications. Obviously, those that are, we have to wait for the deadline for the applications to come in. But for those committees that are the agendas are self-determinant. Anyway, please get those to us before Friday so we can populate the calendar. And that's all I have unless there are questions.
Any questions or anything? Great, thank you. Okay, let's, we have our calendars. You should have all received, we've got, June is being, of course, the most important,
mine.
but down the road that somebody would like to also comment on. Is there anything, any changes to focus on June, but anything else that you have for the future?
I probably will have changes, but I need to. Because we have our meetings on Mondays right now, and that's when our referrals are happening. And so.
We just got our first. Okay, and then, of course, we already talked about the form. So let's go to our committee reports. We'll start with you, Ivy.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. We had Little Island show up for us, and they had a fabulous, robust summer event. They have a new program director, and if you go to the I'll post it in the chat afterwards. Their summer program, they have all kinds of super interesting things, and they are committed to make it affordable. It's either $25 a ticket or free. The free section is a whole series during the summer where they invite different artists that curate a whole week of whatever they want in the park. So they have all kinds of different artists. The one I know is Justin Vivian Bond, and it doesn't really tell you who she's gonna bring or who they're gonna bring, so it's all a surprise. They talked about a lot about their commitment to the community, including some summer jobs that they have postings for they're focusing youth, but they also want people of all ages for the summer program. They talked about different programs that they go into the schools as commitment connected to Little Island. So the director of the new director of programming was in the presentation as well, and as well as the director of Little Island. So check it out. It's an amazing, I think the only part I felt like summer should be longer this year, right? And I really hate the heat, but for this, yes. Other than that, we welcome 2 new members, Ann Hager and Erica Holden, to the Community Board for Arts and Culture, and that's it. Thank you.
Okay, Mar, you're online. Is there anything you want to? You have a report for us? I thought Mar was online.
Uh-huh,
Should be.
yeah, she was.
She was. Okay, we'll come back. We'll come back.
She may be
Uh,
still there. She may be on mute. Hold on.
I don't see her name under panelists. So
Yeah, she's there.
she is there.
You got it.
Yeah.
Steve.
Oh. Well, then you'd have to ask her. Okay. She should really be on social panels. Oh, now she's a panelist. Okay. Hey, Mar, do you have anything?
Sorry.
Go right ahead.
So sorry, I actually I was on the other side of the house for a second. So let's see, a lot is happening in cannabis. They did not drop those 1,500 to 2,000 expected licenses. They dropped, I think, about 127 more in the last CCB meeting. The new enforcement task force is up and running. They have, at last count, done 77, shut down 77 illicit dispensaries, 3 right across the street from us on Thompson Street, which is awesome, and 1 on 6th Avenue. Wish they'd get all of 6th Avenue, but I think it will soon come. I will give a comprehensive report on all things cannabis in New York City in our district at full board. But yeah, that's the news. We have no applications. Oh, and so next month, when we meet on the 11th, whether we have applications or not, we need to review our process, as there's been some confusion on the part of the OCM on what our resolutions mean. While they are very detailed, they are very confused by deny unless, and they need to see different language. And we're going to discuss that at committee.
Giving you guidelines on what they'd like to see.
I mean, I have a whole list of possibilities. Approve, no objection, objection with stipulations. I mean, I've been really looking at every board and what they do, and I've been speaking to the licensing and the municipal departments at OCM, and really all they want to see at the state level is like approve with conditions, or deny. That's what they want to see, because that's what they understand. And the problem is that, a lot of these people are temps. I'm hearing from licensees and prospective licensees that when they call in, they're hearing people's kids and dogs in the background. I mean, they have over 150 vacancies at the OCM for these jobs. So there aren't a lot of people working, and there's very, very high turnover. So it would be better for us, and better for the licensees, and better for the OCM to really have set language that they understand, so there's no confusion, because we don't know who's reading these on any given day.
Got it. Thanks. Yeah, please.
It sounds like approved with whatever comments or that's equivalent to deny unless.
Almost. We'd like to
Sounds to me,
think so,
You
but
list of the comments then.
some people may be reading these like so literally, or don't have the perspective that we come with in terms of what that means. Whatever it is, I think the goal has got to be, we have to accommodate their level of understanding.
Right.
So that's what we work from. Whatever examples they provide, or somebody says, this is what's working for them. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mar. If there's nothing else, I will just briefly, Susanna was not able to be with us. The committee did not meet. It did not meet in April. The DA who was supposed to canceled at the last minute. This month, their agenda should be Greenwich House, and Teresa Concepcion, who runs the Red Door Place. And those are the 2 items on their agenda. And so with that, I will then move to land use. Hopefully somebody from land use on today.
Do you want me to give a little summary?
Oh, I guess since neither, well, unfortunately, Eugene is not well, so he could not.
But oh, just overnight, not well. for now.
Well, okay, anyway, he could not be with us and Katie could not be with us, so Frederica, please go ahead.
Sure. Land use had 2 meetings this month. The first one was a public hearing on the city of use for housing opportunity. And the second one was a business meeting on the same subject. We don't have a resolution. We don't have to have a resolution until June or July. And the general feeling of the committee was we preferred to produce something for June. But for now, and for Thursday, we intend to present a combination of minutes and informational report explaining the components of the City of Yes for housing opportunity, explaining some of the items that have come to our attention, items of concern. And the document is circulating amongst the committee members, and either we will read it on Thursday or we will just simply present it. But this, I think the most important thing about it is that we are encouraging community board members to check out the links for City of Yes, housing opportunity, share, become educated, share your concerns with the land use committee, and attend our meeting on June 12th. We're looking for input prior to the full board meeting.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I guess right now it's still on the calendar. So we do have another meeting at the end of the month.
No, that meeting was canceled.
It was canceled.
Yes.
For sure?
I think you need to confirm.
Okay, right now, if it's on, we will reach out tomorrow and find out what the.
Sure, at the end of, I mean, maybe Donna can confirm, but at the end of our meeting, we did not schedule that last meeting.
Yeah, well, right now, it's always better to leave it on and then cancel it if it does. There is so much material there that it is prudent to keep it on until we clearly can say that doesn't serve a purpose. So, but we'll check. Thanks. Len, I'm sorry.
For the June 12th meeting, do you have any guests, and have you considered inviting the Furman Center?
I'm
not the chair or the co-chair, but I think you should pass that on to them.
Okay, we're just a work session, already done.
Yeah, but the problem I think
Is that Carter in the corner?
Yes.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
All right, and he said what? Because I couldn't hear that.
I said
You
we
gotta
already
use
did
the microphone.
We already did the public presentation on the City of Yes, and George James was retained by the board, hired by the board.
But like,
So, I mean, that's.
it's qualification, yeah. Like, if you could have somebody who does this full time.
We paid him. He's been paid.
Yeah, the Furman Center does.
He does too. He does too. Just-
Hey, you know what? I can't hear either of them, so I don't feel competent to.
We'll make a decision on that. It's Eugene and Katie
Yeah,
have a conversation.
George James, who is an urban planner who has been working with us on the previous City of Yes proposals as well. He's also somebody who is other boards, we are also using him because other community boards have been using him. And we found that he was particularly adept at translating this for the specific situations of each district. He was able to bring out the unique features that of relevance in each district as they vary. Now, if you have a proposal in terms of inviting others, by all means, let's talk about, like, that's why we have another, for example, we have another thing on the calendar. That's an opportunity. That's why we don't take something off the calendar so fast, because so let's discuss that after.
But Susan, you were at the meeting, just to be clear, we discussed that the next meetings were working sessions, so we could develop a response. It
Okay.
wasn't
Excuse
to-
me, what did Carter just say?
Yeah, Cardi really got a move.
Yeah, I
I'm sorry.
had said that we discussed at the land use meeting that we needed to produce the resolution so that the next meetings were working sessions. That's what we had discussed, so that we can produce a resolution in time for next month's full board meeting.
Well, do you remember that? Do you remember taking that May 29th meeting off the calendar or leaving it on?
I do not.
No, okay. Right now, it is on the calendar. We're not gonna.
Okay.
On the calendar. I know, we're not gonna, unfortunately, yeah, we don't have either of the co-chairs here, so we cannot.
However, I can say with some confidence that the sentiment of the committee was to pass this in June, not in July.
Correct. Okay. Anything else on land use for now? Okay, now, so landmarks is next. And Chenault is he here? I don't see him, and I don't see like Susan, the vice chair. So, okay, we will come back. I will ask again. Outdoor dining.
Great. So the outdoor, making sure everyone can hear me, the outdoor dining working group reports. We have dining out NYC applications for roadway and sidewalk cafes are here. We have 3 applications that we will be hearing tomorrow. It's for across 2 applicants. West 10 West, which is at 242 West 10th Street for a roadway cafe application and a sidewalk cafe application. And then we have Oscar's Place at 466 Hudson Street for a sidewalk cafe application. As of last week, we learned that DOT has received 22 Dining Out NYC applications for CB2. So these are 3 of those applications that have been referred to us. The outdoor dining working group is meeting tomorrow, Wednesday, May 22nd. We'll be here in the CB2 conference room and also on Zoom, where we will go over these 3 applications. These were referred to us on Monday.
That's why.
So that is why the roadway cafe has a 30-day turnaround. So we would not have it in time for our June full board meeting. And so since the applicant also has a sidewalk cafe, which we have 40 days to review and send in our feedback on those applications, we're going to do all 3 tomorrow evening, so that we'll have them at the May full board meeting to vote on. So it's a very quick turnaround. Any questions on Dining Out NYC or any of the applications or anything? We've also added Brian Pape to the working group. So he will be joining us starting tomorrow evening for the meeting.
What was the third one?
The third
one for tomorrow?
The third one is Oscar's Place.
No, okay, Oscar's 247 West 10th and.
42.
And we have 2 applications for 242 West.
Oh,
We have a roadway application from them and a sidewalk cafe application. We had asked DOT that when possible, when an applicant did apply for both at the same time, that they would be referred to us at the same time. So that has happened here in that case, and we're very thankful to see that happen so we can review them. They are 2 separate responses and 2 separate applications, but we are hearing them together. That's.
Do they have like a timeline for which they will refer the applicant to you?
So it is, so there is a specific number of calendar days and business days that are in the legislation. But it is the legal language is when they will refer, they have a certain time period. Once they have deemed it as a complete and accurate application, so that's where the leeway is. So one of these applicants, for example, they applied at the beginning of May. And maybe another one they applied earlier. The portal has been open since March 5th. And so it just depends on, we have been assigned a plan reviewer at DOT, who is a community coordinator, who is our liaison, who sends us the applications. The redacted versions are on our website. So you can see there, it has site plans and photographs, which are all a part of that. And yes, any other questions on outdoor dining?
I'm sorry, we probably discussed before, but like, can you remind me how much sort of discretion the community board has over like architectural elements of the setup? Or is
Sure.
it more like we're there to sort of as a check that they're meeting all the actual.
So if you look on the CB2 website, you can see the public feedback form that we have. It's really detailed and it links to all sorts of information. So we're commenting on the physical footprint and dimensions, the pedestrian flow, which includes visibility, safety, and potential, I don't know what the word is there. And then how it affects any comments on the existing curb use. So on sidewalk, we have an official in the legislation. We are mandated to have a review. And so we either will tell them approve with modifications, or disapprove. Every sidewalk cafe is not automatically given a DOT public hearing. It depends if it's approved with modifications or disapproval from the community board, then that triggers the sidewalk cafe public hearing. Every roadway cafe application will have a DOT public hearing. So that's not contingent on community board feedback. And roadway, and this is because of how it is in the city charter, a roadway cafe, we are commenting on, it's the same feedback, but it's just at the comment period, it's not a review period. So we don't, if we were to not say anything, there's no checkbox on that we say that we are waiving our right to review it, but there is a waive on the sidewalk cafe.
Clear.
You had a very good question, which I heard differently. There are very specific elements, what they're allowed and not allowed.
That's sort of what I was asking.
Yeah, and there's a whole little write-up of what you have. But a lot of what you see.
Yes.
I wouldn't say that.
Okay, Brian.
Maybe what that translates to is yet to be seen, but it's just the old sidewalk cafes are basically allowed.
Yeah.
There's barriers, they
And I will show.
not.
Okay, we've got Patricia and then Brian. Wait, yeah.
You said that you're hearing from Oscar's Place tomorrow,
Yes.
and it's just for the sidewalk, or you said roadway?
So it's just for the sidewalk. And when we say hearing from, we are not asking for a formal presentation from the applicant. They are there to answer questions from the committee. So there is no formal renderings or presentation. We have the materials that they've given us. If there's anything extra that they want to show us at that meeting, but they're not required to attend the meeting tomorrow night. They're not required to attend a community board meeting, but if they would like to, we do reach out to them, and we did call them and emailed them because of the short turnaround.
And this is really, I have to thank the members of the group. It is very short notice, but it's too important for us to just let it slip, especially these are the first batch that we're getting, and we're setting a precedent. So it is important for people to know that, yes, we're on top of these things.
Yes, and for West 10 West, they also have an SLA application before us as well. So that one of a component of the liquor license was heard by the SLA committee a few weeks ago. So, you know, just to give you an idea with that, I will quickly, I was just going to show an example. Mark, can I share my screen really quickly?
You should be able to.
Okay. I was just going to quickly show.
Brian, did you have a question?
I'm wonder if there was an update on the LPC rules.
I have not seen an update. Yeah, I have not seen an update. Okay, here we go. Let me just quickly show, like, just to give everyone an idea of what roadway is going to look like. This is not one that's come before us, but this is, this is what roadway is going to be in the permanent program. It's a low, and again, I don't know if those are water filled or not, but like that's in terms of the volume of what roadway cafe looks like, is supposed to look like in the permanent program. Based on what's in it. This generally follows, I believe, most of the roadway rules. So just wanted to share that. But yeah, so that's on that. And then really quickly, I wanted to share something about from the Hudson Square bid.
Sure.
Very quickly. So the Hudson, as I mentioned last time, the New York Forward, it's a $4.5 million grant that's been given to the Hudson Square bid. So there's now a Hudson Square New York Forward local planning committee that will be taking in applications. There'll be an open call for applications of how to use that money to people proposing specific projects. So there is, I was gonna show something, but I don't think I really need to. So we are looking for input. So there's a survey that will go out, that's for the community that will go out. I'm gonna put it in the Zoom right now, but I'm gonna send it to the office and it'll go on our social media and all of that, and in the newsletter. There's a survey to take, and then there's also a Hudson Square New York Forward website. It's hudsonsquarenyf.com, and you can learn more information there. You can learn all of the meetings of the local planning committee will be open to the public. There's a link to the community survey there. There's a link to sign up for the email list to get involved, but it's to propose, we're looking for projects that will better the neighborhood, will make it a more inviting place. And they will be voted on by the local planning committee and will be sent off to New York State for final approval. And so they're capital projects, and you can learn more on the website. And again, I'll send out these links to Mark to send out, but that's it.
Great. Any other
I
questions?
noticed that there's these orbs that have been planted in all of the tree pits all throughout.
Yes.
Hudson
Yes.
Square. That's not part of that.
No, but
Right.
projects like that was done by the Hudson Square bid. It's called Walk to the Water, and they brought in an illustrator to illustrate those, and it's supposed to guide you to walk on a walk to Hudson Square Park. So it is projects like that that could be proposed for this initiative.
Okay. Okay, well, next is Sparks. Rich.
Yeah, hi. Susan, you okay with me doing this?
Go ahead.
Well, you can join. No,
Some interesting news, and it's time to share it.
yeah, we've been hesitant to talk about this until we were confirmed, but there's been some pressure from the community and now through Councilmember Botcher's office in the Parks Department, who has now a new commissioner, has responded to some calls to review the plans and the status and the future of the Tony Dapolito Center. This is a big deal because there's been a renovation repair project going on there for a long time, and the progress has been really slow, and every time they do something, they find something new to fix and some more problems. So our committee, both publicly and behind the scenes, has been saying, come on, we need a decision here. The pool has been closed, and that's really upsetting. Thank you, Frederica. Frederica's been one of those people. The pool's been closed outside. The entire facility's been closed. It's been very difficult on our community. And so the Parks Commissioner has said that they would like the process they would like to start the process of reviewing what could be done in that space or done with that space. So let me stop there.
There is a definite commitment from the top to completely, to do something new. It is a big project. It is something that has a lot of thought and planning that will go into it. But right now, the old thinking of just trying to do repairs and maintenance is really not going to get us anywhere, because you can't fix something beyond a certain point. It's so far gone.
The reason we wanted to introduce it to this committee this evening was to ask for your assistance in starting to think about how to get everybody involved who should be aware of this, and how to anticipate questions or think through potential issues.
Yes.
A project of this scale is going to have a lot of ramifications. There there should be questions about the traffic problems that might result.
And we're fully aware this structure does sit in a historic district. And that is, and it's got components of it, even though the building itself is not an independent, landmark, that will definitely play into it. There are questions about, what we want to see there. And there's a lot of opportunity. So yes, Frederica.
Yes,
Well,
thanks so much. Rich, I think you've just done an amazing job and thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's two parts to this site. There's the part that is the garden and there's the part that's the affordable housing. And then there's a question, of course, about Dapolito.
Are you talking about, we're not talking about 388, we're specifically talking about the Dapolito site.
Yes, I know. However, this is really important because the HPD did a very extensive outreach program to figure out what they wanted on the 388 site. And at every juncture in our three resolutions, we stress the importance of a new recreation center. And in their final report, which came out in April, they really soft pedaled their recreation aspect of things. And they misinterpreted some of the other results. They really misinterpreted some of the results.
That is a major reason that Rich and I are bringing this to everyone now, because we do not want, if there is a commitment to a new Dapolito Center that will serve that function, is that the idea that there's, we don't want people to be misled about 388. It doesn't need to be two such centers. The whole point.
Of course, but let me just finish my thought.
Okay.
We have expressed we've expressed in our resolutions our commitment to having a recreation center, not a cultural center, not a community center, but a recreation center in 388. And we cannot allow HPD to present their rendition of all of the surveys that they've done and completely misrepresent the opinion of the community board when they send out their RFP. So they came out in April with a final report, and we have not opined on this since last October. So I feel that it's really even more important for the community board to recap for the purposes of the HPD's RFP, if that's not too many letters, so they understand where we stand. And Susan?
I understand what you're saying. I think that but so much of what the 388 law recommendations were built on these, in terms of a rec center, were built on the assumption that Dapolito was not going anywhere, that it was basically something that had just been set aside, and that the inclusion of a rec center was the one real opportunity for getting such a thing, because it would be the only actual construction going on, and that Dapolito was sort of like just forgotten about. Now that we've introduced that.
But imagine a scenario where the new rec center goes into, let me just finish, please. Imagine a new scenario where the new rec center goes into the new building and Dapolito has the opportunity to become an 100% affordable housing building.
Well, I think we may be getting ahead of ourselves in terms of what's there. It is also a possibility in terms of re-envisioning Dapolito that there might be housing over that too. Right. I think one of the reasons we have support from Councilmember Botcher is that he favors Dapolito being the site of the rec center, and then doing as much as we can with that. And that 388 is all about housing.
Okay, so
Exactly.
that's definitely possible, but I think we have to like lift the rock on this conversation and bring it to
That's
the,
why we're
community
doing
board.
this. This is a very first conversation. We did not want to have it until we had a clear commitment that we knew that Dapolita was not simply going to be another money pit where we're just going to try to do some repairs.
well,
But
it's all, that's very exciting. So
So there is-
100% in favor of that.
And Rich and I attended a meeting with the Parks Commissioner who came out and unambiguously said that that's what they want to say.
Well, that's a great thing.
That's why we share this with you.
Spread the word.
And there's a lot, look, there's a lot to discuss here. It's
Yeah.
just the beginning.
So, yeah.
Yes, Patricia.
That Dapolita's been closed for what, 3 years now?
At least.
So this new envisioning, how long is it gonna take before we see something new?
You know,
Many years.
it is years, it would be years no matter where, because there's nothing, even at 388, you're talking years.
Yeah.
That's a reality of construction. So, all we can do is try to give the community what it really needs.
Our resolution on 388, I don't believe it's independent totally. Dapolita has nothing to do with it. And if both spaces were used, our position was great, even more spaces. Because that's a hub for affordability, both of those spaces. It's not either or, and their uses can be confirmed. And the location of all the high schools, everything was sort of the vision, and that's why people felt so strongly that 388 wasn't properly presented back to us by HPD results. It was because of that, and because this was more likely to be moving forward in a way that was modern built and purpose built and would have the space, ceiling lights, etc. for reuses. But even with Dapolita, there's still not enough space, high schools, etc. Yeah. So that was, it was not linked.
They're not linked. This is just the very beginning of a process, and how we look at each site, can be influenced by this information, but we wanted to put it out there to know that it hasn't been forgotten. Yes, Ivy.
I just have a question. I mean, like this kind of stuff seems so hard to digest. Like, is there another example, like in the last maybe 20 years, 15 years, that something like this, was dealt with?
You mean a completely new rec center? There are
Yeah, something similar to
there
this.
are other ones.
The
Janine
two.
has shared with me and
Yeah.
Rich examples in the city that there have been new ones that have been built.
Yeah, just in the last 20 years in our district, well, the closest would be the one in Chelsea and
Chelsea,
there's
yeah.
center on Houston. What one was, both really new, nice facilities with modern, features. So
And
their
what was
estimates.
like kind of like the hardship? Like, I mean, obviously there's going to be hardship. It's New York City, but like the development took what, 5 years, 10 years?
Yeah, well, one of them was a relatively empty lot, and the other, part of it is trying to figure out how to work within the historic district. But and again, it's a really tough spot in terms of, think about the traffic there on a Friday night already backs up from the Holland Tunnel, and so there are many different things to consider. But the parks and the city are willing to, think it's time to make that call. So yeah, it'll be years, and we have the estimates on what it would cost. It came up in meetings before. If the lot was empty, it would be hundreds of millions of dollars. And this is going to be more complicated because it's not empty. So.
Are they going to want to? Is one of the caveat also? And I'm sorry because I'm never versed in this. The preservation of the Keith Haring mural?
Yes,
all on the
this is
table, yeah.
definitely something that we specifically mentioned to the commissioner, is that they're both the mural and elements within the structure that are of, you know, of value. There are tiles and other elements that we feel that it is essential to preserve in order to, you know, produce a building that's sensitive to its environment.
Mhm. There's also a school, what is the city
Yeah, it's
and art school, so and that's a very specific school that actually meets that kind of site, right? Well, so in other words, maybe my grandchildren will see it, right? Is that what we're talking about? Yay for
Well,
them.
Well, Coral had made a comment, Coral Dawson, I'd like to be able to have something there before my kids leave for college or something. I think that might be, I forget exactly how old their kids are. That might be tight, but,
Yeah.
no, again, the goal was to just get you thinking about it and, you know, not, we're gonna have it on our agenda for the next Parks Committee meeting. We want to structure that conversation in as organized a way as we can so that we, you know.
Thank you
and
so much.
Yeah, sure. We're
Thank
also
you, Frederica.
yeah, so just give the, you know, so everyone who, we want to spread the word and everyone who has a thought about it or a question like that, or a consideration on, how it might affect other aspects of the city, please, you know, come and ask those questions and give that feedback.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Anything else, Rich?
No, we will just further complicate things at our next committee meeting.
That's what we like to.
Hudson Square Bid has asked to, also discuss the Hudson Square bid status of the south portion of the 388 lot too. So, but you know, so that's going to be on there too. It's going to be the other side of the lot that would be the affordable housing. So.
Got it.
Anyway, do me a favor. I think it would be best to keep this relatively within our group. I know it's going to be hard to do that until the parks presentation to the committee in the first week of June. But the goal was to get all of you who think about other committees and other impacts to help us structure that conversation.
Right. And yeah, there will be a presentation on that. That's great. Thanks a lot. Schools.
Okay. Our committee met last night and our topic was empowering youth voices, advancing the Vote 16 movement in New York City and New York State. We heard from Alfred Curlin, who is a rep for Vote 16, which is a grassroots initiative aiming to lower the voting age to 16. Nationally, the initiative has garnered support from House Democrats. In New York State, Senator Brad Hoylman Siegel has introduced a bill to amend the state constitution, allowing 16-year-olds to vote in state and local elections and requiring 8 hours of civic education in high school, with local support from various officials and community boards. Lowering the voting age offers benefits such as granting tax-paying teens political representation, enhancing civic education, increasing voter turnout, and fostering lifelong civic engagement. Studies suggest that 16-year-olds are capable voters, and we have seen that with our board serving as a model since 2014, allowing 16-year-olds as voting members to vote, reinforcing the argument for early civic empowerment. Our committee wrote a resolution urging New York State legislature to pass and New York State voters to approve these bills. That's what we discussed.
Do you find that has wide support? I'm curious, just in terms of the broader community, or people are not. It's not on people's radar.
Well, we're urging them to pass these bills. The bills haven't been passed. I know Gail is a big supporter of it. With it in the assembly, Assemblyman Carroll has written a bill on it as well. the person who presented last night, Alfred Curlin, has been going around to community boards to garner support. So far, he's gotten about 8 who've approved it, I believe. And we have like 59 boards, so it's gonna take support.
Yes. Valerie.
I'm sorry, if I missed this. Is this to vote
To lower the voting age to 16.
federally?
No, you can't do, they can't touch federal.
City.
So this goes to this, so like this the resolution gets, let's say it gets passed, like, so then who does it go to?
We are gonna send it to, we're gonna send it to the state, the state senators and local official. And we were also discussed last night to send it to other community boards as an example, if it should pass.
And so there's no legislation, it's getting an elected official at the state and city level to write legislation to.
I don't know,
The
it's
bill
not just legislation, won't this require a constitutional amendment? This sounds like a constitutional amendment.
Constitutional amendments first.
Yeah.
Constitution, that's the process for that.
I think that takes a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah,
Two sessions.
no, there were no links to the information. And it doesn't, just says empowering these voices advancing about 16 without explaining what that is. There's no links on a calendar.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't.
Okay, I'll try to get the.
Well, I mean, it's just, we have to,
Absolutely. In
Open meetings law.
we can always add that to the agenda next, even whatever your next agenda is, you can add that too, and we can also have links because this is an ongoing process. And we can include, so when people check for your next committee agenda, they will see that too. It's that's another way to help.
it's not just this committee, it's all committees.
Yeah.
If anything's discussed, materials, if we're doing a video conference, we have a website 24 hours before the materials that are being discussed or sort of.
A rep from Vote 16, Alfred Curlin. And he's been going around to different communities presenting the grassroots.
Let's get to.
I'll get the
Oh, sorry.
resolution. Thank you.
SLA.
Okay, so both committees, we heard, I believe, 9 applications and got a few that might jump out. There's one, Talem, that's on Grand Street that has been laying over or just not showing up since October. We denied them last month for the no-show again. And then we put them on the agenda this month because they have moved forward at the SLA. I think they filed in February with their application. So we were trying to invite them to come in so they could present their application. They are located out of state and still haven't found anybody in state in New York that's going to be managing or doing whatever it is that they're doing. So the lawyer said that it was a waste for them to come since they didn't have anybody yet. That said, the posters were put around the area and we had about 4 different people show up to speak and we heard them in opposition to this and they knew nothing about it aside from seeing our postings. So the postings are really important. We keep saying that, but that's how a lot of people do not read our newsletters, are not that involved, and they see the postings and wonder what it is and they show up. So I was thrilled after having this on the agenda for so many months to finally have somebody from the community there to speak in either for or against this application. So we were all very happy to hear from them. And I believe they also submitted letters. And we have Great Jones Distillery at 686 Broadway, which we heard that's a denial. I don't know if anybody will show up on that one. It's at 686 Broadway. They have a distillery license. They want to add an on-premise license for a restaurant. They did this back in 2018. The initial application, I believe, was for an on-premise with a distillery. Cardi, you can correct me if I'm wrong with that because I was not on the committee then and did not. But so now they're back. It was denied in 2018. There was huge community opposition to it, even with a 12 a.m. closing. Now they want a 2 a.m. closing, and to add this on, we've gone back and forth with them. They want the 2 a.m. closing, and the committee and the community really felt that the 12 a.m. closing, which essentially they agreed to in 2018, but the community didn't agree to and therefore was denied, should still work. So there's a slight chance. The committee offered them, with the 12 a.m. closing, they said they needed 2 a.m. to host some of their private events, especially around the holidays. So the committee recommended 12 private events a year that could go till 2 a.m. And that didn't seem all right. So I did get an email this afternoon saying they may still be thinking about it. So anyway, the committee recommended denial without that midnight. So we'll see. Then on SLA 2, which was also 9 applications, Hudson River boat laid over. Again, that's a lot of boats on that. So there's like 24 applications together, but 4 or 6 of them are the boats. There was one on 120 Leroy Street called 609 Paddle. It's the 9th floor on a rooftop. It's sort of a private members club, but they are playing with it for the licensing and saying it's an on-premise for a restaurant. Somebody can come in and pay $50 a day for a day fee. So that's what makes it open to the public. They cannot use the paddle courts or the gym, but they can sit down and eat. We had a lot of neighbors that live around there come and oppose this one. They're concerned about just people on the rooftop until 12 a.m. They have a lot of small children playing paddleball up there till 12 a.m. 7 days a week. We heard another application a number of months ago on Clarkson Street, which essentially backs up to this one, another rooftop. That one at least is closing at 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock at night. So that was a denial. I do not know if people will come to speak at it. I believe we've received some letters on it. I know we've received at least one letter on it, again, in opposition. And so that was that one. And then, as Valerie mentioned, we have West 10 West at 242 West 10th Street came for the roadbed and sidewalk seating. We have a history with this applicant. They came a few months ago for an upgrade to an on-premise. When they came for their original restaurant wine license, they came to an agreement with the residents around there and the block associations that they would close at 10 o'clock Sunday to Wednesday, 11 o'clock Thursday, 12 o'clock Friday and Saturday, that they would not be applying for sidewalk or roadbed seating, that they would not be applying for an on-premise license, that they would be open for lunch and breakfast and be primarily an earlier spot, which is what people really wanted and need. And so the community was very upset when they came months ago for their on-premise license. And at that time, they seemed to believe that their hours were 11 o'clock Sunday through Thursday and 12 o'clock Friday and Saturday. Their liquor license says it's 10 o'clock Sunday to Wednesday. So when they came this time, they had an incomplete diagram of the sidewalk and of the roadbed. They still said their hours were 11 o'clock. The principal did not show up. The committee voted to deny it. The roadbed needs a 15-foot emergency lane, which I'm sure we will all be going through again. There was no measurement of the street. The roadbed is 7 feet. I believe there's an 8-foot. There's a painted line on the other side of the street for parking. So that's probably 8 feet. So that leaves about a 10. Then the road is about 26 feet. So that leaves a 10 or 11-foot emergency lane. And the sidewalk has a tree pit, which was missing from the diagrams that they have. So it's unclear if they could even have the 8-foot clear path there. It was just 2 tables. Maybe they'd have to move one. So we denied it. And also because of the past history with this applicant and the applicant himself not showing up. And I think that covers anything we may hear about.
Awesome. Anybody have any questions on it? Thank you. Street activities.
Yeah, I mean, for our meeting, I don't really have too much to call out. It was a standard meeting. Nothing really out of the ordinary. We approved, I think, everything that came before us except the no-shows. I mean, the only thing I would say, which is sort of outside of our normal course businesses, following the April meeting with both DSNY and DOHMH regarding food trucks, we've had a lot of responsiveness, or a lot more responsiveness with them now that we have a direct line into them.
That's great.
People making complaints. So I mean, obviously it's not perfect, but that continues the dialogue that we have. if anyone has any problem areas and we know of a few, just let us know.
I have a quick question. I just wanted to like just get an update in terms of like the flow between this group and SAPO. Is there like any updates how they've changed this year?
Flow between this group and SAPO?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think the update is we were hoping to get me and the committee like more of access to SAPO's actual system because we're continuing to go to the office. But I don't know if that's what you're asking, but they've kind of shut us down on that. So I think it's sort of status quo for now.
So I'm asking specific about that because I'm doing the health fair for Pride again. And this is just a feedback. So it feels very different than last year. It's completely lagging in terms of communication, even though this is my 4th year doing it. So I just wanted to know.
So what's lagging? SAPO is not responding to you?
Yeah, it takes, I had one response in 2 months. And it used to be like I was submit the permit, the insurance, and it was like feedback. And this year suddenly is completely different compared to 3 years ago, even though it's the same kind of event. So I just wanted to see like.
Oh, okay. There's a new SAPO director as of last year, so maybe that has something to do with it, but I don't otherwise have any view to that.
So like would like the relationship that, like you said, if you got shut down, is there like any plans of like changing that relationship or having?
Well, we weren't shut down. It's just we've never had a direct access to that. So it continues to go to the office at this point. So the office has to do a lot.
But you said that you were. So what you're saying that it would be better like if you had like a way to.
Well, yeah, we've been asking that because you have to have a New York City .gov address to. So we've asked, made the request, and we haven't been able to do it. So I think you should maybe talk to Mark or Florence, and maybe they can help with the issue since they're the ones who directly communicate all of our residents to SAPO.
And for advocacy of what you would like to see that relationship be, how can we as member of CB2 be more proactive in that?
I mean, I think OTI has to change their policies. I don't know.
That's all.
Small thing.
Thank you.
Okay, unfortunately, we do not have a traffic report. Shirley, we know, is sick, and her replacement was also unavailable at the last minute. So whatever traffic we will hear at full board, and therefore, but Chenault is with us, so let's have some landmarks.
Okay, and usually I have 2 things to say. One application in the Gansport that was very prickly. It's a new building with 2 canopies that are clearly of historic design. They're modified a bit, and they were proposing to put a great many lights in them, and so we said that they were not appropriate and suggested proper lighting to fit in the historical context, and there are plenty of examples. We also had a new building on 8th Street. Some months ago, there was one that's now under construction that was also new at the corner of 8th Street and McDougal Street. And this one joins it immediately and fills in the last taxpayer space there. And it's okay. We approved it with asking for some modifications. Otherwise, they were routine things.
Okay, anything else? Any questions about this stuff? Okay, is there any new business then? If not, I will take a motion to adjourn. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time, and we will see each other on Thursday.
Hey, Rich. I had a letter here.
Oh, goodness, what is that?
It's from the Arts Alive.
No, he stopped the day before.
Oh. I'll come by, leave it, I'll come by Thursday, I'll